Since the 1960s, Wiltz Wagner has been deeply involved in the sport of observed trials. He began as a fierce competitor, later emerging as an unwavering advocate who unified enthusiasts and clubs into a cohesive national organization. Living in Denver, Wagner was first attracted to motorcycles as a way to explore the mountain trails. But competitive riding was not his first choice as a sporting outlet. He first tried target pistols, martial arts, fencing, but each of those disciplines left him wanting something more. When he saw an observed trials competition, everything changed. The people and the sport fascinated him. In 1967, when he was 28, Wagner entered trials at an age when many top competitors retire. Knowing he had a lot of catching up to do, he dedicated himself to that task. He bought a 175cc Kawasaki Bushwhacker, then a Montesa Coda. He got up at 5 a.m. workouts, trained 4 hours a day, spent entire weekends on his bike. Soon, Wagner and a few fellow Colorado riders began traveling to California and other states to compete in trials events. They could see that there was potential for more organization on a state and even a national scale. Now that's when Wagner formed Colorado's Rocky Mountain Trials Association, which would become one of the oldest AMA-chartered trials clubs in America. Outside of Colorado, the trials community was staging large events in Southern California, Texas, and Michigan. In 1973, Michigan-Ontario Trials Association organized a 2-day North American Trials Championship. Wagner was there. Seeing that people would travel to compete, Wagner assembled a list of all the trials clubs in the country and collected their membership rosters. Now that effort was the genesis of the North American Trials Council. Only 1 year later, in 1974, the NATC sponsored 9 events. In 1975, the Rhode Island Trials Club collaborated with Wagner and the NATC to host the first World Trials Championship in New England. The North American Trials Council honored Wiltz by naming the American round of the World Championship the Wagner Cup. In the decades that followed, trials competitions succeeded at both the state and national levels. By 1985, the RMTA had more than 225 members and put on 30 to 40 events every year. And for the past 46 years, the NATC series, sanctioned by the AMA, has crowned the sport's national champion. For Wagner, his interest in other competition disciplines grew, drawing him to drag racing, ice racing, and land speed racing, where he and his family hold more than 50 records. Wiltz Wagner is a living testament to the words of the Roman philosopher Seneca. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Thank you, Perry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Wiltz Wagner's longtime friend, Hub Brennan. Hello, Hub. I'm going to give this to you. You're very welcome. So glad you're here. You've known Wiltz for many years, but how did you two meet?
We met a couple of decades ago, of course, around motorcycles and trials when Wiltz brought his Wagner Cup to Rhode Island for the World Championship event that was mentioned.
Okay. How can one man have such a major impact on the sport of observed trials?
Sure. Well, Loretta, it had to be, and it could only have been Wiltz. In a word, it's vision. Trials, of course, is a bit of an isolated discipline. Trials riders are more individualists than group thinkers. Dr. Wagner had the vision to create something grand and sustainable from what was, at the time, a remotely scattered group of enthusiasts. Only Wiltz, with his intellect, passion, and vision, could have accomplished that.
Wow. If you could name the most significant achievement in Wiltz's career, what would it be?
Yeah. Well, as with all of the great achievers of our time, there's more than one answer to that question. First, absolutely, is his family and his unending love and adoration for his daughter, Belin. This means more to anything than Wiltz, and I know it would be his answer to this question. Another is the profound and lasting impact that Dr. Wagner has had on the body of medical knowledge. Few in the motorcycling world realize this, but Wiltz is a world-renowned medical researcher who has made a number of groundbreaking discoveries to the benefit of medicine and humankind. He is a giant in this regard. And of course, his indelible mark on the world of motorcycling, both with his record-laden history on the Salt and Bonneville, and more so with his originating and shaping the North American Trials Council, a national trials championship, and introducing us to the World Trials Series. For this, we will be forever in his debt.
Wow. In your opinion, how do you think Wiltz will be remembered in the sport of motorcycling?
Again, as a visionary. Wiltz is a complicated gentleman. He is at once both an ultra-focused researcher and a wide visionary. He is an iconoclast as well as a patient and thoughtful listener. He's extremely sophisticated, yet lives and conducts himself quite simply. He is genuine. He's the real deal. To honor his vision, we as shepherds of our motorcycling legacy must always make certain that the Wagner Cup remain a prominent and visible element and symbol in all World Trials Championships in the United States, forever in time.
Hub, thank you so much. Beautiful words. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Hall of Fame inductee, Wiltz Wagner. Thank you so much. Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Wiltz Wagner is renowned motocross pioneer and Dirt Bike Magazine editor, Hall of Famer Gunnar Lindstrom.
Wiltz Wagner, in recognition of your many years of dedication, observed trials, particularly as an unwavering advocate and then as the founder of the North American Trials Council, plus your numerous records in land speed racing, it is my great honor to induct you into the American Motorcyclist Association Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's beautiful.
Hold it up.
This is the greatest honor of my life, but this honor belongs not just to me. It belongs in large measure to the North American Trials Council. That unique council has nurtured trials from its non-existence in the 1970s to developing a national championship series that's carried on flawlessly for almost half a century. Trials is not a well-known sport, even today. It was certainly unknown to me when I went to a local event in the 1960s. All manner of inappropriate motorcycles were there, like flat trackers with low-slung expansion chambers that high-centered on everything, howling away at 100 decibels trying to get loose. There was only one real trials bike there. It was beautifully piloted by Bill Brokaw. The whole day was mesmerizing. I fell head over heels in love with trials, and then literally went head over heels at the next event, a total of 21 spectacular crashes. Bill Brokaw won with 2 marks, and I had 99. Later, I learned that Brokaw and friends had seriously considered telling me to try another sport before I killed myself. But they decided to say nothing, and I thanked them for their silence. Trials riders are people of the forest. They happily ride in secret streams and up amazing waterfalls, always away from the public eye. They are so much a part of the woods that deer will graze undisturbed not 20 yards away when a group of trials riders stop to watch. It's always entertaining when bow hunters, creeping around the woods in their camos, yell at us for scaring the deer away with our noisy motorcycles. We laugh and wish them well as they sneak around in their pajamas. The trials masters who set the events must develop special skills to set the sections at the right level for novices and much more difficult sections to challenge the experts. Their organizational skill is extremely important, especially when they oversee a big event like a round of the national championship. Their skills are an order of magnitude more important when they host a world round. No experience in their life can prepare them for these massive events, especially when dealing with international personalities, those pseudo-aristocrats who invade the colonies, hell-bent on stealing our treasure and treating our hardworking volunteers like serfs. Hope nobody's here from the FIM. Despite these difficulties, our trials masters have never failed to do an outstanding job, and the world-class riders often think that our events are the best of the year. Now let's go back in time to 1974 and the first meeting of the North American Trials Council. Back then, no one traveled out of state to compete, so the representatives of the trials regions from all over the country were strangers to each other. The meeting room was filled with these high-powered leaders, each with their own agenda. It was certainly a tense time. I happily watched as this group of ferociously independent organizers rapidly grew to trust each other and to develop a cohesive drive to make a national series work. In just 2 days, rules were agreed on, and a 9-round national series was planned. It seems extraordinary that only 3 months later, the national series succeeded without a hitch. The council and the series have flourished ever since. Next year's annual council meeting will be the 48th. My deep gratitude and respect are due to the Hall of Fame Committee, to the AMA, to the Hall of Fame members, and to the AMA Life members who voted for me, and to the many supporters who are also rooting for me to succeed. Thanks are especially due to our North American Trials Council CEO, Brad Baumert, whose leadership has led to the recognition of the North American Trials Council as a top-flight organization. Thanks are also due to leaders like Hub Brennan, who made that outrageous introduction a few minutes ago, and David Russell and Dave Allen, and to the wisdom of so many others who've had the vision to bring the people of the forest out into their well-deserved place in the sunlight. New members of the Hall of Fame receive this beautiful custom-made ring. Traditionally, the recipient has something special engraved on the inside of the band. Let's see what came to my mind. Oh God, not over the handlebars again. Or, who stole my oxycodone pills? That's rude. Or, I hope I have extra points and condensers. That's an inside joke for those who rode Spanish two-strokes in the 1970s. But the truth is that my daughter, Wagner, got the ball rolling for my Hall of Fame nomination and endlessly campaigned to get me elected. Not only is she my hero for her years of stunning performances on the Bonneville Salt Flats, but she's my biggest cheerleader. Without her, I would not be standing here. On the inside of band of my ring is engraved simply Wagner 2019. For this ring is her honor as much as mine. I would like to close with a short story. In my other life, I'm a medical school professor. To move up the promotion ladder, one must move every few years from one medical school to another. When I grew up, New Orleans was home. At 21, I moved to Denver to work at the medical school. Denver was where I found trials and was blessed with many wonderful friends. After living there for 25 years, Denver replaced New Orleans as home. Next, I moved to Indianapolis, and after another 20 years, that amazing motorsports town became my home. Now I moved to Mobile, Alabama for 15 years, yet another home. Sometimes over beer, professors muse on, where is home? And more deeply, where do I want to be buried? There are no simple answers. There are all those different cities that change beyond recognition almost as soon as one leaves. For me, now I have a simple answer. My musings can stop. For as of today, I have found a forever spiritual home. Here in the Hall of Fame, I am home at last, and for that, I am forever in your debt.